You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, the Senior Center in Miami has been receiving building upgrades. Our very own Melissa Alexis shares how these changes will benefit the community.
Also, our very own Lonnie Walton shows us how Joplin schools are working to prepare young kids for kindergarten.
And we've got another warm and windy day out there and the possibility of severe weather by tomorrow. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door. Coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
Chris Warner just after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday morning. So for those of you joining us right now, obviously Halloween is not today,
right,
it's Thursday, yes. But I will not be here. And we had a poll for you voters or you viewers to decide what we should be for Halloween. Since I won't be here,
yes.
We're doing it today. Obviously, she is Dorothy. I am not a moldy piece of pizza,
no.
Although that was suggested. It's a possibility. I am a tornado.
Yes.
Now, Elise and our digital producer, Peyton, worked very hard on making this tornado.
Very hard,
I think
yes,
it looks very cool. It looks very cool.
Thank you, Chris. We spend some of our time, working on it just a little bit. These are actually dryer sheets, so Chris smells absolutely amazing.
It smells great here. I like it.
Well, in an effort to improve the Miami Senior Center, the city took control of the center, and now they're making upgrades.
KOAM's Melissa Alexis had an opportunity to speak with the Miami City Attorney.
More viable entity that will generate more interest on the part of our senior citizens. Give them a place to go and have fun.
The City of Miami is making strides to make the Miami Senior Center an enjoyable place for residents ages 60 and over.
We're taking it under the city's wings to run it. We hope to build the center back up.
Thanks to a $75,000 grant, the Senior Center will soon have some upgrades to the building and the layout of it.
Adding more kitchen space in it. We're planning on refurbishing several parts of the building itself.
The city doesn't plan on stopping there. They want to continue to make improvements and generate even more interest from the community.
Wanting to make it a place that people want to come, that they do come and have fun and have educational, fun-filled things to do at the center.
The Miami City Attorney says there has been an uptick in sign-up interest at the Senior Center, and he even has recently signed up to become a member himself. Reporting in Miami, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Well, the City of Miami plans to appoint a new committee that will help with the decisions concerning the Senior Center.
Certainly. Very important down there for that. I know there's been a lot of things coming up with it. It's great to see they're getting some ideas and moving forward.
Yep, and people are signing up too. That's great.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And it's going to be a great time to be indoors because, well, it's going to be windy again. Let's take a look outside with our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. And as you can see, we've got clear skies out there this morning. It won't last very long, but we do have those clear skies this morning. And we'll take a look from our camera at 7th and Range Line. Oh, I'm a little off center there. All right, clear skies from our camera at 7th and Range Line. You can see a few clouds out there, though. And as we take a look, MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line, traffic is flowing as folks get their Tuesday underway. And, of course, KDOT camera just south of Pittsburgh, East 520th Avenue. Looks really good as well this morning. We do have wind advisories across the area, a good chunk of it. And because there's 5 different weather offices that cover us, sometimes when it comes to local advisories like these, they don't always agree on the time. So for Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties in Kansas and most of southwest Missouri, they'll run, and northeast Oklahoma, they'll run until 8 this evening. But for the remainder of southeast Kansas, they will run until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's because these 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts out of the south will continue today, tonight, and tomorrow. Future track showing us a day similar to yesterday. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. We'll have those gusty south winds, maybe a sprinkle or two, but rain chances less than 10% today. Temperatures just a pinch cooler as we go low to mid 80s, so not looking to break any records today, but boy, yesterday a good number of us broke record highs. And it'll be mild, of course, through the evening. We're at 70 in both Joplin and Pittsburgh right now. We should be in the upper 40s. We are 20 to 25 degrees above that, as many of us are in the upper 60s and low 70s across the region for today. We're looking again at highs low to mid 80s out there, a mix of partly to mostly cloudy skies, breezy, and warm. Now, that cold front tomorrow will be very windy again ahead of that front, and then we are looking at a chance of severe weather tomorrow as well. We'll go over those details with you in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Dorothy?
All right, don't blow away there, Chris. Well, high winds helped fuel a fast-moving grass fire yesterday evening. Now, the fire spread south of Ivy Road and Country Road 197 outside Carthage. 20 to 30 mile per hour winds pushed the fire quickly with gusts up to 45 miles per hour. Now, the National Weather Service had issued a wind advisory earlier for Barton, Jasper, McDonald, Newton, and Vernon counties in southwest Missouri. Just after 7, the fire was declared contained as it had to burn to the Ruby Jack Trail and simply ran out of grass to burn. This was the third and largest grass fire of the day for Carthage Fire. Well, Outreach Therapy in Joplin hosted a trick-or-treat event for kiddos. Now, the outpatient pediatric therapy clinic opens for business this Friday. The clinic focuses on occupational, speech, and physical therapy needs for youth ages 3 to 7.
They can get it in First Steps, which is a wonderful program from 0 to 3 in the home, but once they turn 3, they can't get it. They can get it at the schools, but there's no outpatient facility that has a lot of room for them. So this is all pediatrics. There's swings, balls, rock walls, all kinds of things. You know, we will serve kids with all types of disabilities.
McCullough worked in therapy for 30 years before opening her own clinic. Well, Joplin schools are on a mission to train the district's 4-year-olds to be better prepared for kindergarten. KOAM's Lonnie Walton takes us to Soaring Heights Elementary to get the story.
Joplin's earliest learners coming into our elementary settings to help gain skills necessary for success in kindergarten.
Principal Katie Boer from Soaring Heights Elementary School says this new program called the Flight School, aimed towards helping preschoolers get acquainted with kindergarten, is something she can relate to.
Wish I'd had something like this for my own child when I was a young mother as a teacher. I did start off my career working in early childhood, so I believe in the power of it.
The goal is not only to teach students the fundamentals for the next grade level, but to be leaders.
I would love the kindergarten teachers to come to me and say these kids are the leaders in the class, they know what they're doing, and they can help everyone else, and they're socially and emotionally ready.
Flight school teacher Amanda Paul says this program will help eliminate a bad experience she once had as an educator.
We had lots of kids come in and they weren't ready. They weren't socially ready, they weren't ready to take turns talking and getting along with their friends.
Parent Desmond Williams says he loves the extra learning, giving his child a head start.
Just hope that, she just learned just the basic stuff. That way when she gets to kindergarten, she's up to speed and, she's having the social interaction with all of her kids and her friends. And she comes home and tells me about all her friends and everything she's learned all the time. So, as long as they're learning, I think it's a pretty cool deal.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Transportation and meal options are provided to students during school hours. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, you're invited to do a little holiday shopping where Halloween and Christmas come together. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the depot in Chanute, Kansas. Whether you're into Halloween or you're more of a Christmas person, the Tinsels and Terrors event has something for everyone. Now we have Kylie Vasquez, one of the organizers, with us this morning to share what you can expect when you pop on by. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here.
Of course, happy to have you. So talk to me about this Tinsels and Terrors event and kind of what it all entails.
Of course. So we are an event center over at Nexus and OCH Event Center, and we like to do all kinds of holiday events and pop-ups and whatnot. Tinsels and Terrors is kind of a mix of Halloween and Christmas for those of us who don't like to pick. Your costume today is actually perfect for it. So we would love to have you come by on Friday 1st, but we are partnering with Eagles Landing Wine to provide themed cocktails. There will be live music, and it's 21 and up for those of you who would like to leave your kids at home.
Fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about what kind of inspired combining Christmas and Halloween. I know you said it's for people who don't want to pick, but it's such a unique and fun event to have here in town.
So we have a really unique venue in itself where we have so many different kinds of rooms. Upstairs will actually be the Christmas themed room and downstairs will be the holiday themed room. Personally, I'm a fan of both and I hate having to pick. It's really that perfect time of year because November, Friday 1st, right after Halloween, and then it's right before Christmas. Personally, I'm like, as soon as Halloween's done, Christmas, it's time.
Yep, absolutely. That's when you start playing that Mariah Carey music.
Absolutely.
You know.
She defrosts and awakens.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll also be dressed up. Are people allowed to dress up in either Halloween or Christmas attire?
Of course, we encourage both of them. So personally, I'm going to be dressed up as Wednesday. A couple of other people are going to be dressed up, and then upstairs we're going to be having a holiday theme. So somebody might be dressed up there.
Fantastic. And then for people who want to find out more information about this event or connect with you all, where can they do so?
You guys can go ahead and look on our Facebook or our website, Nexus and OCH Event Center. We post all of our information on there, and you can also find events about information about all of our other kinds of pop-ups.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Happy to have you. We'll, of course, have more information on our website later on this morning. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Stick around. We'll be right back with more news and weather right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:15 now on this Tuesday morning. And we have wind advisories across the good portion of the region. So for Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties in Kansas, southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma, they run through 8 this evening. For the bulk of southeast Kansas, though, they'll run until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And that's because, well, it's going to be windy yet again. In fact, it could be windier today than it was yesterday, as we could see those gusts anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour. So that's enough to bring down some small tree limbs, could cause some power issues here and there. So just something to keep in mind. And of course, please, absolutely no outdoor burning. The number of stories we've run today about fires that got out of hand yesterday, you've got to listen. You've got to not do any of this. You can wait a few more days. By Thursday for Halloween, it's going to be a little better out there, just not today or tomorrow. These gusty winds continue overnight and into our Wednesday, still in that 40 to 50 mile an hour range ahead of a cold front. And we'll see that cold front come through. And once it does in the evening, it'll calm the winds down for us. They'll also begin to shift out of the north-northwest on us. And it'll also bring us colder temperatures and, of course, thunderstorm chances. So for today, very similar to yesterday, except we're not looking to break records as we did yesterday, at least not nearly as many as we did yesterday, as so many locations got close to 90 degrees. Joplin, for example, broke a record that was set back in 1950, and we broke it by about 5 or 6 degrees. Could see a sprinkle or two today, but rain chances less than 10%. We're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies, warm and breezy, similar to yesterday. Overnight, we go mostly cloudy. Most of our Wednesday is mostly cloudy, breezy again. Could have a stray shower or two in the afternoon. Then by the evening, as the front gets closer, we could see some isolated thunderstorms ahead of the front. If we do, these storms could potentially become severe, so that's something to keep a very close eye on as early as 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow. Then by 6, that front pushes through. By 6 o'clock, it's into Yates Center, parts of Woodson County out there, Burlington. By 8, it is now just outside of Fort Scott, Chanute, Fredonia, and Bartlesville is where these thunderstorms will be. Very gusty winds immediately ahead of this front, and winds a little calmer back behind it. Then by 10, it's rolling through Fort Scott, Nevada, Pittsburgh, Galena, Riverton, Miami, Veneta, and knocking on the back door of Joplin. So not long after 10, it'll roll through the Joplin area, push further east, and then we'll be on the backside of these storms from Stockton, Lamar, Joplin, Anderson, Monette, Cassville, Bentonville, maybe as far southwest as Grove. And then by sunrise on Thursday, it's going to be colder, and those storms on their way out. In fact, by noon, we're going to actually see temperatures drop a bit. We're going to be in the low 50s by noon on Thursday. So again, it's going to feel very cold compared to where we were yesterday and where we'll be today and tomorrow, but it will be seasonably so. Again, this will continue to update as we get closer, but still looking on average 1 to 2 inches of rainfall out of this. This is not going to erase the drought situation, but it will certainly be beneficial for us. We still have the elevated risk of strong to severe storms across the entire area tomorrow. This has been unchanged since Sunday. The primary concerns are for very large hail and damaging straight line wind gusts 70 miles an hour or greater, but an isolated tornado or two cannot be ruled out, but that risk is considerably lower, but still a lot to keep an eye on. Quick look at temperatures: 70 in Joplin, 32 is where the winds are gusting to out of the south right now. We should be in the upper 40s. We are not. We've got upper 60s and low 70s. And as we get the day underway. We're looking to settle back upper 60s out there. And again, mostly clear skies like we're seeing right now, but clouds will increase through the morning and we'll be up to the mid 70s by 11 o'clock. And we'll again make the low to mid 80s today, right around 80 tomorrow, low 60s eventually for highs on Thursday. As we head into the weekend, temperatures still seasonable and we have additional shower and thunderstorm chances out there, bringing some more much needed rainfall. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
We have a Charlene Patton from the Kansas Soybean Commission with us this morning, and she has a festive Halloween treat for us. We're making candy corn oatmeal bars. Good morning to you, Charlene.
Well, for all those viewers that might
Yes.
still be trying to think,
Right.
what can I do for something a little special and fun?
Yes, this is it.
This is it. This is such a great recipe. The oatmeal bar I made ahead of time.
Okay.
Uses our soy flour, but it also uses margarine, brown sugar in there. Mix that all together with oatmeal. Just a little bit of baking soda that's in there to help it rise a little bit. It bakes for about 15 minutes at 350 degrees, just till it starts to get golden brown there a little bit and bake. Then I have taken one package of caramels, those little caramels, that it's a great activity for your kids to
unwrapping them.
all those. That's
Keep them busy.
Keep them busy. Put that in a saucepan with about 2 tablespoons of soy milk.
And it smells so
oh, doesn't
good.
that? When you talk about caramel, that thing's a fall, doesn't it? Yes. And this recipe is so fun. This would be a great family activity.
Yes.
Get your kids in the kitchen. Let them help you do this. We'll spread that out here. Just get some down there in that corner there. Put there. And, you know, something else you could do if you didn't want to do the packages of caramels is, you know, they have the caramel sauce
in the tub.
In the tub.
Yes.
Put that in a saucepan.
Oh, so easy.
And then put a little bit of the soy milk in there that'll help thin it out.
Yes.
And then you can do that you don't have to unwrap
Wonderful.
all those. Then you have all the fun things. You
I
pick
know.
whatever you want there.
We're
going to
have some candy corn.
We're going to just sprinkle that whole thing all over here.
There
We've got
we go.
the candy corn. And then we have
some M&Ms.
Yes, the candy coated ones. And this time of year, you see that they come with all different colors for Halloween too.
And the kids will love doing this.
Yes, and then we've got
everything
sprinkles that have all of that. And then, you know, an idea for your families would be take this concept with the cookies, but then at Christmas time, use Christmas candies.
Perfect.
And you have another festive one. This is just white chocolate that I'm going to drizzle on, kind of like a little spider web here. And I just melted that. I think our recipe calls for an ounce. But then just a little bit of vegetable shortening helps thin that out really nice.
Get that nice drizzle on there.
Doesn't that add an extra color? And you can cut that into bars. Oh my gosh, it makes about 5 dozen, depending on how small you want those bites to be. But I love this. We see how colorful. You did a good job decorating.
Thank you, Charlene. Well, you did a good job with the drizzle there. It's perfect for Halloween. Perfect.
We're ready for the holiday.
Yes, we are. And if people want to get this recipe for this delicious looking candy corn oatmeal bars, where can they do so?
They should go to our website at kansassoybeans.org, or you can also go and call our 800 number, and Megan will ship those recipes right out to you, 877-KS-SOYBEAN. And I might add that if they go to our website, we have recipe archives.
Oh, fantastic.
So go to the one for holidays, and you'll see all kinds of holiday recipes.
All righty, sounds like a plan. Thanks so much, Charlene. Stick around. We're back with more right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28, just coming up on 7:29. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, as Election Day nears, officials in Jasper County, Missouri want to remind voters this state has electioneering laws. Now, these laws include a no electioneering zone within 25 feet of a polling site. Now, this means a ban on clothing, buttons, or signs that promote a political candidate or stance within that area. Now, voters found in violation, such as wearing a shirt that breaks electioneering laws, will be asked by poll workers to change or to turn their shirt inside out.
What we will do is we will ask them if they're wearing a hat or button. Sir, the law says that you cannot electioneer. Most everybody does this. Oh, I'm sorry, I totally forgot. So most people are kind like that. Every once in a while you get somebody who's a little bit belligerent saying, it's my First Amendment right and I don't have to do what you say. Well, the law says no electioneering, so they cannot wear that at the polls.
Now, the objective behind these regulations is to ensure a hassle-free voting environment. Early voting has started this week in Oklahoma. In-person absentee voting kicks off Wednesday at 8 a.m. and runs through this Friday, November 1st, for the November 5th general election. No excuse is needed to vote early, but voters must provide proof of identity when checking in at their early voting site. You can head over to KOAMnewsnow.com/elections for a full list of polling places and voting sites in your area. Well, a mistake on some Southeast Kansas ballots means some early voters might not be finished voting. Voters in Neosho County, Kansas are voting for judges this election season after early ballots left them off. According to the Neosho County Clerk's Office, drafted ballots did include judges, but when they went to print, the back side was not included. And the mistake wasn't noticed until the second day of early voting. The county clerk's office created an amendment ballot until corrected ballots could arrive. Voters who cast their ballots before will still have the opportunity to vote for the judicial positions.
No one is voting twice for twice at all or twice for the same races. Absolutely not. No, everyone was provided one chance to vote for each race. They're getting mailed just those judges' races that they should have received in the first place.
Corrected ballots what could have been received and will be used from now on for both early voting and the general election day on November 5th. Now let's check in with Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, you may have noticed if you're just joining us that Lisa's, of course, dressed like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. I am a tornado, and that is because, first off, I will not be here for Halloween. I will be off, so we're doing it early. Second, we put a poll out there, and you guys decided that she should be Dorothy and I should be a tornado, and that is exactly what we are today. This is a tornado. Trust me, Elise and our digital producer, Peyton, made it. They said it is. That's what it is. Quick look outside. Our camera downtown Pittsburgh. We're starting to see a few clouds out there, and those clouds will continue to increase across the area. Same from our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline. Boy, look at all those cars lined up, ready to go. Get this Tuesday underway. And KDOT camera, 69 East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh, also looking pretty good this morning. All right, wind advisories. Again, we have several agencies that cover our area, and sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't. This time they don't. So Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties in southeast Kansas, and then southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma. Wind advisories in those areas go until 8 this evening. The rest of southeast Kansas will run until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning because once again, we'll have those winds gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour today, tonight, and tomorrow. Like yesterday, we're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures warm, but not as warm. We'll go low mid-80s out there, and we could have a sprinkle or two, but today's rain chances less than 10%. Quick look at temperatures, 70 in both Joplin and Pittsburgh, and around the region, we've got upper 60s, low 70s, and we should be in the upper 40s this time of year, so obviously well above normal across the region. Again, today, low to mid-80s out there, partly to mostly cloudy skies, and of course, the winds out of the south, gusting 40, potentially 50 miles an hour. The winds continue tonight into tomorrow ahead of a cold front that will bring us thunderstorms. Some of those could be severe. We'll take a look at your full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Dorothy?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A Nashville man is using art to encourage people to get out and vote this election season. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the Depot for Trick or Treat at the Depot. in Consumer Watch this morning. Well, new data shows that staged car accidents intended to manipulate insurance companies are on the rise. The Insurance Information Institute analyzed data from 2022 and 2023 and found that California, New York, and Florida had the highest rates of fraudulent car accidents. Now, it's estimated that fake car accidents cost every U.S. driver between $100 to $300 more in annual insurance premiums. Well, a new study shows how much money families are spending on childcare. Financial services company Bankrate reports full-time center-based childcare accounts for at least 10% of a median family's income each year. Now, Bankrate says the average annual cost for childcare for one infant is $14,070. The report shows childcare is the second biggest expense for families across the country behind housing. Well, some iPhones are getting an artificial intelligence boost. All of Apple's newest iPhone 16s, along with last year's 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, can now receive an update that includes AI software. The upgrade is meant to provide an overhaul to Apple's Siri assistant, as well as help with writing tasks and summarizing documents. Now, users with compatible phones can install the new AI software with the iOS 18.1 update. Well, new federal rules in effect now require airlines in the U.S. to give passengers refunds if their flight is significantly delayed or canceled. Fox News senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has the latest from Washington on what it now means for flyers.
Delayed by more than 3 hours on that next domestic flight, and it automatically qualifies passengers for a full refund. The same is true on international flights, delayed more than 6 hours. The new refund rules now fully in effect, marking the latest change by the Department of Transportation.
From day one of this administration, we have been working to improve the entire experience for airline passengers.
The DOT's policy clarifying how and when refunds need to be processed. Under the latest guidelines, an airline must provide refunds automatically without passengers specifically requesting them. Additionally, airlines and ticket agents are required to complete the refund within 7 days for credit card purchases, 20 days for other forms of payment.
When you force a company to do the right thing, they tend to get better.
But the move has faced pushback from the airline industry. And SMU economist Mike Davis says it may not be all good news for travelers, given the new reimbursement rules could now mean higher prices for airline tickets due to the forced payout to customers.
The other thing that I wonder and actually worry about is whether the airlines are going to be adjusting schedules to make it more likely that they can avoid these kinds of delays.
And this new federal rule also means compensation for significantly delayed baggage. In other words, if your luggage isn't delivered within 12 hours on a domestic flight, you guessed it, those baggage fees you paid will now also be refunded. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:42 coming up on 7:43 on this Tuesday morning. We've got wind advisories. So for Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties in Kansas, then southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma, they'll run through 8 this evening. For the rest of southeast Kansas, they'll run through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And well, that's because it's going to be windy today, tonight, and tomorrow. We're looking at gusts, though, increasing today. So out of the south still, but now upwards of 40 to 50 miles an hour. And that will be the case throughout the evening, into the overnight hours, and into into our Wednesday as well, with those gusts continuing. Here we are at noon, still in that 40 to even 45 mile an hour range at the least out there. And then we'll have that cold front come through. That'll bring us the showers and storms. And as it pushes on through, the winds will shift out of the northwest and they'll start to calm down as we head into our Halloween morning. All right, for today, similar to yesterday, just a couple of degrees cooler. Again, a sprinkle or two showing up on future track, but rain chances today less than 10%. We're looking at a partly to mostly cloudy day, breezy and warm. Then as we head into the overnight, we're just going to go straight up mostly cloudy. And we're going to spend most of Wednesday mostly cloudy to just plain cloudy ahead of that cold front. Now, before it gets here, a stray shower or two will be possible early, but then we could see an isolated thunderstorm or two, primarily in the southeast Kansas between, say, 4 and 5. If we do get some thunderstorm development ahead of the front tomorrow, some of those could be strong to severe. They'll be isolated, but something we'll want to keep an eye on. Then by 6, that cold front will run into Yates Center and Burlington, parts of Woodson counties out there, and it will continue to push off to the east. So by 8, we're now pushing into Fort Scott, Chanute, Fredonia, Bartlesville. And thunderstorm line will continue to march eastward. So by 10, Fort Scott, Nevada, Pittsburgh, Baxter Springs, Galena, Miami, Veneta is where this is, knocking on the door of Joplin. And by 10:30, it'll be rolling into Joplin, Lamar, maybe Stockton by 11. Eventually in Neosho, Anderson, Monette, Cassville, as these thunderstorms roll out by about midnight, we're on the backside. And then by sunrise Thursday, it's going to be chilly. It's going to feel cold because we've been so warm, but it will be seasonable levels. But look at noon Thursday, clear skies, a light northwest breeze, but only into the low 50s by noon. So considerably colder out there, but again, seasonably cool. All right, rain totals, again, these will continue to be adjusted as we get closer into Wednesday, but we're looking still at about 1 to 2 inches of rain. It will not solve the drought problem, but it is certainly going to help. And we also have to deal with the severe threat. And we're still in that elevated risk across the entire region as we head into Wednesday evening. This has been unchanged since Sunday, so confidence is pretty high about severe weather. So there is the chance of an isolated tornado or two, but the bigger concerns are coming with very large hail and damaging winds in excess of 70 miles an hour. So we'll have non-thunderstorm winds up to 50 ahead of this line. And when the line comes through, 70 mile an hour wind gusts are going to be possible. So a lot to keep an eye on. We're starting to see a few clouds out there with the sunrise in Joplin this morning, very above normal. 70, humidity and dew point both rising out there as well ahead of these rain chances tomorrow. Winds gusting to 32. Temperatures, again, we should be the upper 40s. We're in the upper 60s and low 70s. And as we get our morning underway, again, we're starting like this, mostly clear, but clouds will quickly increase through the morning. Winds will be gusting, be upper 60s by 8 and mid 70s by 11 a.m. Highs today, not necessarily going to break records like we did yesterday, but still well above normal. Low to mid 80s, low 80s tomorrow. Low 60s on Halloween. The seasonably cool temperatures continue through the end of the week and into next week, so get ready to break out the sweaters. And we also have some more much-needed shower and thunderstorm chances through the weekend and next week as well. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, commuters across the Nashville area may have seen a unique kind of yard sign during this election season. Now, the signs aren't for a particular candidate.
Instead, they carry a simple, powerful message: vote. Chris Davis spoke to the artist behind the signs.
As Election Day draws near, you don't have to look far to see campaign signs from your car. But there's another sign popping up around Middle Tennessee that's sending a different message. One that originates from the art studio of Paul Collins.
Okay, I can make better circles than that.
The Austin Peay art professor originally got the idea when the animosity from the 2020 election...
I really love the rhythm of painting the feathers.
...started to ruffle his.
Just reading political news and making myself crazy.
So he turned to his best coping mechanism, making art.
And I thought, oh, I'll make a cardinal, because the cardinal is the messenger, and just say vote. And so I made a cardinal sign and I put it up in my neighborhood, and I just thought, oh, I'll just do this once a day until the election.
Collins carves each critter by hand. He paints the design, also by hand.
I try to make each one really, really different.
The only commonality is the message.
It's important to me that they just say vote and not who to vote for.
And the price. free to all the recipients as long as they display the priceless message.
I can't determine the outcome, but it is very bothersome to me that that so few people vote.
After the original 2020 run, people started noticing Paul's creations.
Just reaching out through mostly Instagram, asking me for a sign, and then I'd ask them what their kid's favorite animal was, this sort of thing. It was really fun.
So far, he's fulfilled every request.
It's a ton of work.
Although that's getting tougher by the day.
We are 443, but who's counting?
When Paul finishes one of his signs,
sort of funny, charming little characters,
they end up here on his porch for pickup. From there, they've ended up all across Nashville, Clarksville, and everywhere else in between.
When people request a sign, I ask that they send me a picture. So I've got a lot of pictures of where they find themselves, which I really like.
To Paul, seeing his quirky animal kingdom all around the Mid-State is worth all the work and irritation from his wife.
My wife is done with this project. She's like done with this project, okay?
Because as election day draws near, he wants his message to be clear.
I think we'd create a more perfect union and more perfect policy and have more perfect outcomes if we all work together.
Now the signs are completely free, and Collins raises money for the supplies by selling some of his other art online.
Well, it's very important to vote, so make sure you do that.
Well, it certainly
the tornado wants you to vote.
The tornado wants you to vote.
Of course, we're Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. I'm the tornado from Wizard of Oz.
Haven't caught
I
on
whisked her
already.
up, I brought her back to Kansas. I never took her away. So
there's no place like home.
no, there's not. Well, we got a little bit of weather to talk about, and wind is a factor in that. Let's take a look at the wind advisories again across the region for parts of Missouri and Oklahoma, and then Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties and Kansas. They run through 8, the rest of southeast Kansas through 7 a.m. And that is because I can just show you this, and this is going to be the case for us through today, tonight, and tomorrow. Winds gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour out of the south. These numbers will be relatively unchanged between now and tomorrow evening when a cold front rolls through. Maybe a sprinkle or two. Think we're going to be dry. Rain chances today less than 10%. Partly to mostly cloudy skies during the day. Mostly cloudy overnight, and for the majority of our Wednesday, maybe an isolated shower or two, maybe a storm ahead of the front. If we see a storm ahead of the front, that could be strong to severe. By 8, here's the front. Fort Scott, Chinook, Fredonia, thunderstorms rolling through. By 10, it's Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Nevada, just outside of Joplin, Miami, Veneta. By midnight, we're on the backside, so Manette, Anderson, Cassville, showers and storms. And again, I do want to mention we do have that elevated risk for strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow with all hazards possible, but wind and hail are the primary concerns. We'll have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. High winds helped fuel a fast-moving grass fire yesterday evening. Now, the fire spread south of Ivy Road and Country Road 197 outside of Carthage. Just after 7, the fire was declared contained. This was the third and largest grass fire of the day for Carthage Fire. Well, Outreach Therapy Clinic opens for business this Friday. The clinic focuses on occupational, speech, and physical therapy needs for youth ages 3 to 17. Now, the clinic hosted a trick-or-treat event for kids yesterday. The city of Miami is making efforts to improve the facility of its senior center. The city received a $75,000 grant to improve the building and layout of the center, including adding more kitchen space. The Miami City Attorney says there's been an uptick in interest and sign-ups at the senior center.
All right, so here's what we're looking at today. We've got temperatures low to mid 80s. Winds gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour, partly to mostly cloudy skies. It'll be mostly cloudy as we go into the overnight hours, still breezy as well. These winds will not let up until tomorrow evening, and we'll be back into the upper 60s and low 70s. As we head down the rest of the week, as you can see, we have that cold front coming in tomorrow. Now, that's going to bring us that threat for severe weather as well that we're going to have to contend with. And all hazards are possible, but damaging straight line winds in excess of 70 miles an hour, large hail are the primary concerns. It brings us much more seasonable temperatures as well after that, and then more rain chances through the weekend and next week.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, more than 300 pumpkin lovers in northern Belgium on Sunday paddled giant Halloween hollowed out pumpkins for the annual race in Casterly in Belgium. Now, the race started in 2008 after local growers decided they needed to find a different use for their 800-pound pumpkins besides turning them into soup.
Now, farmers only have 4 to 5 months to gain the necessary weight, 600 to 1,100 pounds. Paddling the unusual kayaks does take some skill. Certainly a lot of fun and great use for those giant pumpkins. Well, thanks for letting us put the good and, Wizard of Oz stuff into your morning. We're back at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.